Good evening, everyone. Yes, as Mike said, my name is Sirisha, and I'm in the Customer Workflows team. We are responsible for delivering the Epitomy platform, which hopefully a few of you are already familiar with. So in this talk, I'm going to give an update of where Epitomy is today, some recent improvements and enhancements that we've made to the desktop application, and also a look to the future and how we're going to be integrating Epitomy into end-to-end analyses to streamline analysis processes for our users. So where is Epitomy today? To date, we have published 17 workflows that cover a range of sequencing applications, from human genetics to metagenomics, and a range of applications for infectious disease. I won't read all of these out, but not forgetting basic tasks such as base calling and alignment. We don't just maintain the existing suite of analysis tools, we're always striving to improve the offering by updating analyses and adding new workflows. And two recent examples of this are the single-cell workflow, where a recent refactoring of the code base has resulted in this workflow being able to be run at least 3 times quicker than the previous version. We've already released this to the community, and we've had some great feedback from our users. We also have a brand new workflow coming, Workflow Trio, which will enable comprehensive genomic analysis of proband parent trios generated using ONT platforms. This implements Claire3 Nova and will be available later this year. So, how can you run Epitomy workflows? Well, one option is to use the desktop application. This offers an intuitive interface to run workflows either locally or in the cloud. The application is a great option if you're less comfortable with running bioinformatics software because it guides you through everything you need to run a workflow. And if you are a more advanced user, gone too far ahead. If you are a more advanced user, then you can still run our workflows in the usual way, either cloning from GitHub or running directly in the command line. So I'm just going to go through some features of the desktop application. And as a reminder, for those of you who aren't so familiar, all of our workflows produce a fully featured, rich HTML report, as can be seen in this example here from our metagenomics workflow. Reports contain plots, charts, and diagrams, depending on the type of analysis you've carried out, which means you can quickly get to the results of your analysis. And we also capture all of the versions of the software tools used, as well as the inputs provided by the user. One improvement that we're really excited to announce is the integration of IGV. This replaces the current JBrowse functionality, and it means that you can very quickly get to the results of your analysis and view the variants that were generated in the context of the alignments. This is much more convenient for users because you no longer have to manually transfer your BAM file away from the application into a standalone instance of IGV. We have also taken on board customer feedback and will be reintroducing the Jupyter Notebooks interface. So this enables advanced data analysis and manipulation using standard programming libraries. So as an example of where this might be useful is in our transcriptomes workflow, which generates an expression matrix. If you would like to explore this file further, you can load it into your Jupyter Notebooks interface and interrogate this in a little more detail. It's not just Epitomy workflows that can be run in the desktop application. Any compatible workflow can be imported and run from GitHub. This means that if you're a workflow developer, you can take advantage of our flexible and intuitive interface and open up your analyses to a new audience of users who may be less comfortable running software from the command line. We're also really excited to announce the introduction of tertiary analysis partners. So this will be initially for the outputs of the human variation workflow, and it will enable onward analysis with trusted providers, adding more annotation and allowing users to get more of the biological context of their results. And lastly, in this section, we're really pleased that, again, following feedback from the community, we have taken on board suggestions and will be issuing a refresh of the user interface of the application. So look out for that, and it will mean that the application is easier to run than ever before. So that section was kind of more about the application and some improvements that we've made. In this next part, I'm going to take a look at how we can simplify distribution of workflows and analyses, and how we can support users in different scenarios who may face challenges running Epitomy workflows. So you may be a researcher who is producing data and analyses and you want to share these with collaborators. You may be working in a constrained IT environment, and so in which case you might struggle to download certain tools and databases. Or finally, with the flexibility and portability of ONT's platforms, you may even be a researcher in the field, looking to run workflows with little or no internet access. How can we support these different scenarios to make sure that everyone can access epitomy? Our solution to this is the introduction of the EPI2ME format. This is a bundle of files which is everything you need to run a workflow. The code of the workflow itself, any containers that are needed, reference data, and of course any user input data. The EPI2ME format doesn't require the internet to run, and it contains all the prerequisites for a workflow. It means you can more easily share workflows and analyses, for example, with collaborators, and it's really simple to install. Simply drag and drop the bundle directly into the application. This is being actively developed at the moment, and we hope to release this later this year. So, up until this point, we've really focused heavily on the desktop application and the ways that we've made improvements that make it easier for people to streamline their analyses. But how about moving beyond the desktop and the ways that we can streamline further? As a recap, this is where the desktop application sits in the overall process. Having sequenced and base called with Minnow, the device software, you can either run a pre-configured epitomy analysis in the application or indeed import your own. And as I mentioned, coming soon is the possibility of integrating with tertiary partners. Zooming out a little bit more, this is where the application sits in the overall process from preparation of sample all the way through to generating a report. But how can we automate this even further, streamlining the process for our users? Well, you're probably going to hear a lot about this in the rest of the conference, but one option that we have done is to bring the analysis to the sequencer. So, as in the case of our new automated end-to-end solution, Turbot. The no-miss protocol for sequencing bacterial genomes is available to run in this way now, and soon will be the ability to also run the plasmid and 16S workflows. Staying with the theme of integration, our popular human variation workflow will soon be integrated into Minnow. With this integration, workflows can be queued to run seamlessly after the sequencing has finished. So this is a really great option for users who are comfortable with Minnow but less confident running an analysis such as the human variation workflow. When the sequencing is over, you'll be able to choose, as you can see in the video, all the different options, and they will run automatically. And if you are here on Friday, I'll be talking a little bit more about this in another demo. And this brings us ever closer to the vision of true end-to-end workflows. And finally, in this section, for users who wish to run workflows at scale but lack the infrastructure to do so locally, we're also implementing a cloud backend, which is integrated into the desktop application. This is currently being tested as part of an early access program and will be rolled out more widely in the summer of this year. So finally, a look to the future. We're proud to continue to support AMPOR-TB, which is a test for the analysis of Mycobacterium tuberculosis samples. This is run locally on a GridION, and as soon as the samples have finished sequencing, the workflow is automatically run. And it uses the latest version of the World Health Organization mutation catalog to produce results for any antimicrobial resistance that have been detected. This workflow can run without an internet connection, so it's ideal for locations where access is patchy at best. And the research use only version of this test is coming in September of this year. And finally, we envisage a future where epitomy can be used to power the functionality of core laboratories and service providers. In particular, laboratories that run routine Sanger sequencing could instead one day use an end-to-end solution from Nanopore. Our workflows have the ability to be grouped by customer, and so that means a core provider could run multiple samples from different customers in a single run and distribute them accordingly without any additional work. This is just one vision that we have for epitomy, but please stay tuned because we have lots more to come. Thank you for your attention.